This high-profile case is shocking in its cruelty and inevitability. No one understands why the main perpetrators couldn't simply tell their former friend that they didn't want to be friends anymore. Their cruelty seems inexplicable. In July 2020, a crime occurred that is still talked about today. It became infamous not so much because of the authorities' work or the family's grief, but due to the perpetrator's cynicism. Skylar Neese was just a schoolgirl from the Star town of Star City, West Virginia. She was a friendly, kind girl from an ordinary American family. Her mother, Mary Neese, was a medical professional, and her father, David Dave Neese, worked at Walmart. On February 10, 1996, they welcomed a daughter, Skylar. She went to school, made friends easily, and planned to become a lawyer. Her best friend was Shelia Eddy. They met while at summer camp and quickly became inseparable. Shelia was from Blacksville, about 50 kilometers from Skylar's town. After camp, they called each other every day to exchange news. In 2010, Shelia's parents decided to move, fulfilling the teenager's dream of becoming neighbors. They started seeing each other daily and went to the same school. Over time, another friend, Rachel Shoaf, joined them. Soon, Skylar began to feel like an outsider. She felt increasingly unnecessary as Shelia spent more time with Rachel, and a sense of estrangement grew. Eventually, things escalated to insults. Negative messages began appearing on Twitter, and Skylar learned about Shelia's close relationship with Rachel, which was no longer just friendly. On July 5, 2012, Skylar came home in the evening after a shift at a fast food restaurant. She told her parents it had been a tough day and she just wanted to sleep. But late at night, she got a call from Shelia, who said they were going for a drive and invited Skylar, claiming they wanted to clear the air and relax with some marijuana. Skylar wasn't eager to go out but was glad for the opportunity to reconcile with her friends. She climbed out of her second-floor window, typical for houses in Star City, a middle-class American suburb. A surveillance camera showed her getting into a car around 12:30 a.m., though the footage was poor and neither the driver nor the car's make could be identified. On July 6th, Skylar's father went to wake her but found her room empty. He called the restaurant, only to find she hadn't shown up for work. This was highly unusual for Skylar, but the police didn't take it seriously at first, assuring him she would return soon. Critical hours were lost after the crime. Only 48 hours later did the police begin a search, and their first step was to contact her best friend, Shelia. She testified that they had driven around and dropped Skylar off a block away from her house around 11 p.m., as Skylar didn't want her parents to see them. Dave and Mary Neese decided to go public with the case. Journalists helped spread the word, and print publications featured announcements to assist in the search. Skylar's classmates posted similar notices on social media. At this point, Skylar was still considered a runaway. Shelia helped distribute flyers, and once even visited Skylar's home in tears, asking Mary if she could sit in Skylar's room. Mary tried to comfort her. Meanwhile, Rachel showed no reaction and behaved as usual, even going to a scout camp the next day. Their behavior during police questioning was suspicious. They gave nearly identical answers, which seemed rehearsed. The police decided they should take polygraph tests. Shelia failed 2 of them, while Rachel acted strangely. On the way to her polygraph test, Rachel waited for a moment and jumped out of the car, running away. Skylar's parents didn't know what to think. They speculated that the girls didn't want to confess to taking Skylar somewhere, fearing that she might have died from an accident, overdose, or other mishap. But the police and FBI had already begun to suspect something worse. They reviewed the girls' social media exchanges, and the results were chilling. They talked about everything except Skylar. Law enforcement decided to stir emotions by subjecting them to public pressure on social media, what we now call cyberbullying. On December 28, 2012, Rachel's mother called the police, saying her daughter was acting erratically and couldn't be calmed. Rachel was placed in a psychiatric hospital. Soon after, she requested to speak with investigators. Everyone expected her to confess to an accident, but what she said shocked everyone. Finally, she told the truth. "We stabbed her." The plan had been in the works for over a year. The murder was premeditated. That evening, they brought 2 shovels and wore hoodies, hiding knives in their sleeves. The surveillance video had captured Shelia's car. She drove them to a secluded area in nearby Pennsylvania, where her family owned land. She knew the area well and knew the road through the woods was rarely used. That night, the 3 of them got out of the car in the middle of nowhere. They stood and talked, while Skylar, unaware of what was about to happen, looked up at the night sky. Using the excuse of needing a lighter, the killers walked back to the car. Skylar stood alone, admiring the stars. The girls counted to 3 and attacked her. Even after the first stab wounds, Skylar was still moving. Realizing she was doomed, she tried to run, but they caught up with her and continued their attack. They brutally stabbed her, and she died when her throat was slit. Her body bore 50 stab wounds. The girls had intended to bury the body, but the ground was too hard. They couldn't dig, so they covered the body with whatever they could find. When investigators asked why they had done this, the answer was, "We didn't want to be friends with her." From the outside, it seemed even they didn't fully understand their motive. Jealousy appeared to be a factor. Skylar lived in that town, and perhaps Shelia wouldn't have moved there and met Rachel if not for her. Maybe they were afraid Skylar would reveal something about them, but they couldn't admit it. On the day Skylar's body was found, Shelia posted a photo on social media, writing that she missed Skylar and wished her a peaceful sleep. Lawyers tried to argue for a reduced sentence since the killers were minors, but West Virginia has different laws. Responsibility is assigned to anyone 14 or older. Rachel received a 30-year sentence for second-degree murder. She had been the first to start talking, showed where the remains were, and cooperated with police in trying to get Shelia to confess, even wearing a wire. That plan failed, though. This year, Rachel will be eligible for parole. Shelia was sentenced to life in prison. After this case, a new law was enacted in the state. It's called Skylar's Law, and it mandates that authorities cannot delay action when a report is filed about a missing minor. The search must begin immediately if the missing person is under 17. Skylar was 16 when she died. And that concludes our coverage of this tragic story. If you found this video informative or thought-provoking, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates on cases like these. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to share this video with your friends and give it a thumbs up if you found it valuable. Thank you for watching.